then we wouldn't have any problems with people today, especially African-American males. So I'm telling you, parting ways is so important that nothing can take its place. It has to go into the schools. So we're offering DVDs free to kids in school, and we're hoping that you people out there with the money pay for them will buy them for the kids. Thank you.
Excellent. We good? We good? One more.
Think that the big ideas and the kind of revolutionary fervor that emerges out of secret meetings that are plied with alcohol was fed by booze.
I think that the Founding Fathers must have been stoned and plastered during that whole period.
Beer, whiskey, and wine flowed freely. But was another kind of contraband fueling a new America? Hemp, early American marijuana.
When I found out about hemp, it was totally a surprise. The Declaration of Independence was drafted on hemp paper. The Constitution is on hemp paper also. And so are most of our early founding documents from all the states. That thin, crisp paper that Bibles are printed on.
Dad, come on. Eddie, where are you? They doing a hollow ground over here?
Yeah.
If you can go, Eddie, you're blocking the shade. And if you can back up a little, no, just you. There you go. We want the light on it.
Even the clothes on the colonials' backs were made from hemp.
It was a very patriotic thing during the war to be clothed in homespun. Benjamin Franklin, the whole idea was when he went to Europe and was wearing homespun, that was hemp. That was 100% hemp. Homespun has never been anything but hemp.
The Founding Fathers all grew hemp. Thomas Jefferson not only invented a new method for breaking down the fibers in the plant, he brought back newer and stronger strains from a seed-collecting trip to France.
Thomas Jefferson actually said, "There's no greater thing."
Blog Talk Radio.
Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Listen to Lou Fisher and tune in to Real Talk. Ain't no competition, we dealing with real thoughts. Don't need no supervision, permission, it's not explicit. Children of politicians, no more than you not to miss it. Listen to Lou Fisher and tune in to Real Talk. Ain't no competition, we dealing with real thoughts. Don't need no supervision, permission, it's not explicit. Children of politicians, no more than you not to miss it. Topics and discussions that's coming straight from the heart. Politics, the struggle, the government, even law. Not to mention vision, my people perish from ignorance. Watching the television or get locked up in the prison. Critical decisions with wisdom and intuition. Deal with superstitions from Catholic, Baptists, and Christians. Mission to commission indifference in different issues. Sensitive yet admissive, I'm telling you not to miss it. Listen to Lou Fisher and tune in to Real Talk. Ain't no competition, we dealing with real thoughts. Don't need no supervision, permission, it's not explicit. Children of politicians, no more than you not to miss it. Listen to Lou Fisher and tune in to Real Talk. Ain't no competition, we dealing with real thoughts. Don't need no supervision, permission, it's not explicit. Children of politicians, no more than you not to miss it.
Raised it, and he took custody of him. So, I mean, that's a beautiful thing right there, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you have to go, and I want to respect your time because you have to get ready for school. So, I mean, basically, I just wanted you to share your story because there's a lot of guys out there who are going through situations such as you. Both of my brothers are going through, and I have one more guy on the line, Mr. Barbosa, that I want to share with us because he was also a single father. And, you know, again, I have to commend y'all. You know, it's a beautiful thing, and it's like, you know, at the end of the day, y'all doing your part. You know, what can you say? You're doing your part, and y'all, from both stories that I'm hearing now, you've done an excellent job. You know, so I do want to thank you for that, son. Do you want to say anything to the single fathers before, or the ones contemplating being single fathers before you go?
Yes, I have something I would like to share with the fathers, and it's a passage out of a book. It's called Complementarity, and it's by one of our African elder scholars, Mwalamu K. Bomani Barudi. Do you mind if I read it?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, he's been on the show before. Sure, go ahead. I respect his wisdom.
Okay. He says here, and it says our family mission statement, and it's and he says, as an African family in the Western cultural wasteland, we recognize and accept the responsibilities of re-Africanization. The Creator Spirit, the ancestors, and the elders have called us to find our path toward African way. In fulfilling this mission, we pledge to pursue the following necessary African absolutes. Number one, we will remove all contradictions between what we think and speak Africans and what we do as Africans. Number two, we will unconditionally love and support each other. Number three, we will every day and always elevate and emphasize the spiritual and intellectual over the material. Number four, we will rear our children in the African way without compromise. Number five, we will work toward cultural and social, including economic, educational, and military independence. Number six, we will master the skills required for self-sufficiency. Number seven, we will work to mentally and physically liberate African people. Number eight, we will acknowledge our ancestors and live by their wisdom. Number nine, we will protect all African children. I'm going to say this again. We will protect all African children. And he's talking about it doesn't matter if they're yours or not. We cannot be selfish. We have to take care of all of them.
That's
Number 10, we will embrace our heritage by reclaiming an African name, language, and spiritual system. Number 11, and as African scholars, we will never forget who our enemies are, regardless of color. So that's the family mission statement. So I go with that with my son. I talk with him about that. But I just wanted to leave that with you, with the other brothers on the show, on the panel, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off with that. And
thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank you for your time as well. And kiss that baby for me. Tell him I said good night, and he better be good at school tomorrow.
All right, sis.
All right. Talk to you later. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to Brother Barboza, who also had the experience of being a single father. And then, Brother Minister, I see you next. I know you probably have some questions for the brothers. Brother Barboza, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Nikki? Hi, everybody.
I'm good. How are you this Sunday evening?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
All right. Why don't you share your experience as becoming a single father?
Oh, I can definitely. I'm eminently qualified for that. I became a single dad in 1972, and I pioneered the National Fatherhood Initiative, which I'm still a member of, and I founded the Rhode Island First Fatherhood. Now, none of these sites are funded by outside sources. I sponsor them all, and the members sponsor their own businesses. And you know what I'm saying? In other words, the brothers like that brother that just spoke, which I commend, and the resources for lawyers, for advice, and so forth. We all meet up on the net. We've got free lawyers and all that other stuff. There's plenty of resources. The problem is some people have access to resources that cost money or it's a exclusive membership. We have to go to the well of wisdom without our gender and our biases. Wisdom is for everybody, all the human planet, and all the earthlings on it. So if we can get by that, I would say to the brother, in 1972, the laws were changed, and there was a test case. You can check it out and Google it up. If you understand, and I know you do, but it's hard to accept, when you have an emotional a union with someone, it's usually on good terms, and if a child is produced behind it, that emotion, with its Kundalini effect, that emotion binds you, and nobody wants to get hurt, and breaking up is hard to do and all that stuff.
So they carry this negative vibe, and the frequency just gives off every time they come in contact, or the name, or it triggers a uncompromising stand. And knowing that the fathers have never had the support of the government, they've always been the target of annihilation in their mind, because we're useless eaters now. We can't pick cotton and we can't breed. When we do breed, they have to support it. So there's no jobs. It's a cycle. The reason why it goes like that is because it's feeding a dying economy. And every brother should know or can know if they look for it. They spend as much time they spend in chat rooms and on radio shows and so forth, Googling for data, especially going to government, then state, then city, then to organizations, and then to churches, religious, places like that. Seek and you'll find. You'll find resources. And 99% of the time, even before I had children, there was always the motherly, feminine energy that I drew to that supported me, backed me, comforted me, and guided me. So keep that in mind, both brothers and sisters out there that are single and have children. I have 13. I spent 25 years as a single dad. Now I'm a great granddaddy, and I think I got about, I'm embarrassed. But I have a lot of great-grandchildren and grandchildren. And
let me ask you this question. When you became a single dad in 1972, how many children did you have at that time? And what inspired you to become a single dad? What happened?
Oh, this is a good one. Nikki, you sure know how to pick them. I think you're trying to find out my background. Let me tell you, before I became
the purpose of doing the show is because you have fathers out there right now that have no idea. You have men out there right now that would love to take custody of their children but don't know where to begin, don't know how to begin. I mean, you have some of these men that have women that got issues, real issues, just like you have brothers with issues that these women may be on drugs or they may have some issues, and, they may be using the child against the man. So, I mean, we need to discuss this for the simple fact. I know fathers right now that are like, look, I want custody of my kids, but how do I begin to get custody of my children? You see what I'm saying? Because the court system always seems like it's on the mother's side. And true enough, I've seen some cases, real cases now. And as a matter of fact, I'm dealing with one right now as we speak. The father has not seen his child in 10 years, and he wants his children. But the mother is an alcoholic and a drug addict, and the system has closed the case on this particular case, and these kids are out there with the mother she took off again. And these kids are in danger. So at the end of the day, we need to have this information out to our brothers who have issues with women. They need to know what rights they have. They need to know that there are single fathers out there who have done this, who have maintained it, who have done a very good job at it, because remember, you got brothers that, it's like they feel like, I ain't going to be able to do it. But with y'all coming on and sharing this information, it just inspires them to say, okay, shoot, if he did it, I could do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the purpose of doing this show. And I just want to be real with it because y'all know I keep it real. I want y'all to be real with it because these are some of the same issues that our brothers are going through right now in the community. So go ahead. Tell me how you got your kids in 1972.
Okay. If anybody wants to have some fun, they can go and Google the information. I was known, a.k.a. the King Priest Musa in the entertainment world, which means I was in burlesque and you might say pioneered male stripping. And I had several women that were exotic dancers. And, of course, you have children with them. You're not going to use rubbers back in the 70s. So, long story short, 3 of the women with children, my son that's 27, so 27 years ago, while I was doing the show, on the way I was leaving, in fact, I mentioned this a little bit before on the show, I was leaving and I saw a brother, as I left the club, beating up, he's a pimp, beating up his old lady, and I went to interfere, and I was, like I said, I was on my way out because I was going to go to the hospital. The son that I'm talking about was just being born. So as I encountered these two and interfered, the guy sliced me in the neck with a razor. I had the scars to prove it. Now, I kind of ran because I learned my lesson quickly. but I was bleeding profusely. So I ended up in the emergency room while my son was a couple of minutes old, 20 minutes old upstairs, waiting for Dad to come home, Mom's waiting for me. So I had said to myself while I was laying on that gurney, if you let me see my son and raise this kid, I'll change my ways. I'll go back to my roots. I'll dig. I'll spend all the time and energy that I did with the kundalini you give me, the blessings and whatever you gave me for skills, and I will be the best father. And that tells the story of how I started out. I ended up with 5 kids to raise then. And then I ended up, marrying a couple, and then now I have 6 months.
Okay, so you was a single father of 5 kids.
Yeah.
All right. So now, do they all have different mothers?
Well, of course, when they found out that the mother's, I'm in the hospital, right, has a guy downstairs. They did a little child investigation, and they took the baby away from the mother, and I had to go to court. But before I went to court, they made us go to a child state psychiatrist, and they put the head man on me, and he had to evaluate if I could take the kid. So, here I walk in looking like a clown, and, thinking I'm an entertainer and I'm looking good. And this guy looks at me and says, come in. I go inside, and I'm looking on his wall. He's got all kinds of damn degrees and stuff and authority. And he says to me, if this is your story, that you got 6, women in your house and everybody gets along and he's all making plenty of money and the kids are all doing good, I think you have visions of grandeur. No man can handle more than 1 or 2 women. And at the best, they get divorced. And you say you've had these women, you're out of your mind. So now
you have women in the house. You had 6 women. Did you have kids by all them women?
Yeah, I just said that. Now, so
you end up getting custody of 5 of them.
No, listen now. So the guy told me you have to document it. So the next morning, I brought all the mothers in and all the kids in, and I left them there. And I guess he questioned them because when I went to court, they gave me custody of the kids.
Okay. So there you have it. So you actually, how long did you raise the 5 children by yourself?
All their lives.
Really? Interesting.
Yes.
And what involvement did the mother have? And now it's it's funny because you said they changed the laws back in 1973. So in 1973, it seemed like to me that there was no problem with them giving you the kids. Now in this day and time, it seems like the court system is usually on the mother's side. So that was back in 1973.
They were, and this is why the mothers took off, because, see, I had plenty of money and, bling and all that bullshit. And we all had money, all right? We were doing pretty well. So what happened was it cost money to fight for your kids. And
so you had the money at that time to do that.
I spent my money in theirs.
Okay. Now, real quick question before I go to the lines. It's 11:02. I want to get to my lines. Let me ask you this. How did it affect you? I mean, was the mother still there or they were gone? And how did it affect you as being a single father? Did you find it hard? Did you find it challenging? You had money at that time, so you didn't have to worry about trying to get extra help. But was it challenging to you being a single father? What kind of love did you display to all these children? I mean, answer that real quick, and then we're going to go to the line.
Of course, you single women especially know how hard it is. Of course I found it hard being a man, especially with my ego and my so-called macho thinking. I mean, after all, I was, the epitome of what these guys call thugs and gangsters, And here I got children, and the children taught me all about, what women go through. And what they have to do and how they have to do it. And over the years, I got so sensitive to women that I think I found a little harmony, because the women that are the mothers are still with me today, but they live somewhere in the here and there. And we only communicate maybe once or twice a week. And we have holidays together and, things like that. In fact, the older kids bring their kids, so it's like a big camp. So
it's a big family thing. But you did find it actually challenging and hard. All right, Brother Bobo, stay on the line. Let me get to 607, because I'm sure you got some questions. Brother Minister, are you there? 607. 607-239. Brother Minister, are you there?
Yes, you talking about me, 239?
Which one is this? 267? Kevin, that's you?
Yeah.
No,
267.
Okay, who's 67? Okay, I'm sorry. 607-239. Go ahead.
Are you talking to me, Nikki?
Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm sorry. I thought that was Brother Minister's number. He said he was calling in, but go ahead.
I'm a single father. Been through most of the stuff that most women went through. Been to the shelter. Been to public assistance, situation. Been through women trying to get to me by being nice to my daughter, buying stuff for my daughter, wanting to do her hair and things of that nature. My father got killed before I was born. My mother died when I was 3. So it wasn't no man.
Wait a minute. How old were you when your mother died?
I was 2.
You was 2 and your father was killed before you was born.
He was helping a friend out. He was a friend was being bothered by a bully, and the bully and him got into a fight, and he stabbed my father. My father continued fighting. I guess he didn't know he was stabbed. He wanted to fight, walked to the corner, he fell out. He internally bled to death before he got to the hospital. My mother OD'd at 2. My grandmother tried to kill me by throwing me out the window. I was legally signed over from my mother's family to my father's family. I wouldn't trade nothing in the world because raising my daughter made me a man. My ex-wife had postpartum. I had a son and a daughter. My son died of SIBS. And even that is something to go through because you sit into counseling and you sit amongst a bunch of women because you don't know what causes SIBS.
Right.
Was it abuse? Was it was it everything? I was a home attendant, so you're trying to give the mouth to mouth. When you find out that you gave the mouth to mouth for an adult and not for a baby, it bugs you out for a while. You have to recover from that. So it's a lot to go through. And like the brother said, sometimes you want to give up. But
let me ask you a question. How old is your daughter, and how did you become in custody of her?
She's 16. I never had custody. She gave me my son. She gave me my daughter. When my son passed away, she came to the hospital. She went to help. I didn't have the funny thing about that was a brother came and see me walking the streets. He said, "What happened?" I said, "My son died." He went to a local ministry and got some money up and helped me bury my son. After that, I had my daughter for 16 years. I went through, when she had her first menstruation at the age of 10, I had to go and find out which, pad to give her. Some she was walking bow-legged, some she was walking, it was overflowing, and I had to learn that the hard way. I have cousins and stuff, but they
were question, my brother. What's your name? Because I want to refer to you as your name.
Oh, my name is Musa.
Musa. So why did she decide to give you your kids? What, you didn't want the responsibility?
I'm not sure. She had postpartum. After me, she had 7 more kids. I just got back in contact with her because she has to pay child support, and she only pays $25 a month. But I won't deny my daughter of her mother because of the fact that I haven't had a mother figure in my life. I had an aunt and an uncle for a while. They went down south. I thought they was like my mother and my father, but I found that they wasn't. And they taught me stuff early on. I've had important men came into my life in certain periods of my life. My family was kind of, most of them was already grown at the time. My uncle tried to molest me. I wound up hating him as I was.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait. Stop right there, because you know what? This is unique to me, my brother. You done been through hell and back. You done been through hell and back. You hear what I'm saying? Did you just say your uncle tried to molest you?
Yeah. Some men won't talk about certain things because, it could be taboo, and certain men are ashamed of certain things because they feel it might not make them a man. I grew up getting beat with the shoe, with the extension cord, with the brooms, with whatever. But in the same token, my grandmother was always like my mother and my father figure until she had a drinking habit.
So your grandmother was an alcoholic. She tried to throw you out the window and kill you. You lost your mother at 2 years old. Your father was killed before you was born. You see what I'm saying? And then you was raised, and your uncle tried to molest you. You know what, my brother? I feel for you, and I call on the ancestors right now to give you all the blessings in the world, because you know what? And then you turned around. You got with a woman. You had kids with her. You raised 2 kids. Your son died in the mix of you raising 2 kids. You raised you got a 16-year-old daughter. I mean, this is amazing to me. I mean, this is touching to me as well, because it shows you the history of what goes on in our community. You hear what I'm saying? It shows you, you know. So at the end of the day, you done been through hell and back. But you know what?
Yeah.
Do this. I want you to do this. Pat yourself on the back, because, my brother, you still standing. You hear what I'm saying? You still standing.
Thank you.
All that you went through, pat yourself in the back, and you raised your daughter by yourself. Now, let me ask you this. In the mix of raising your daughter with the psychological, because I know you was affected psychologically when you lost your son.
Yes,
How old was he when he died of SIDS?
He was 9 months.
Wow. That's unusual, but he was 9 months old. Wow. So you had to deal with that, including all the issues that you had growing up in your life. Man, when you hear, when you think your story is bad, you got somebody who got it 10 times worse. But let me tell you this. You're a strong brother. And need you to pat yourself on the back. If you got to run outside, my brother, and holler and say, thank you, my ancestors, because they held you up. And know you still standing, my brother. I wish I could hug you right now. I really wish I could. I really do, because you're still standing strong, and I hear it in your voice.
Your words. I mean, never been on drugs, never went to jail, never got arrested, never did all that. What I was told, I was went against the system because having no mother or father, I was supposed to be a bad boy.
Whatever, that's what they say. That's a whole bunch of nonsense. You understand me? And my brothers and sisters, 4 of us my mother had, ain't never been on drugs, alcohol, never got in trouble, and our parents were. So it is what it is. That's a myth. But how is your daughter now?
She's good. She's in school. She's doing good. She's my best friend. Everything that I bought by myself, I buy for her. I tell her I love her. So she's beautiful. You know, I let her read books. I let her read the Sister Soldier book, Coldest Winter Ever. You know, and I let her read stuff, and we sit and we talk about stuff, and we have dialogue. Because, you know, sometimes when you don't expose your kids to something somebody else will. And I don't want to be where I don't give her no attention and the next man comes along and tell her how beautiful she is, or buys her something and she gets fascinated by that and take her away, or just to take her virginity, or to, you know, take whatever she has. So I try to teach her the value of what she has and her own self-worth, because sometimes we don't teach our female children, you know, what their value is and what their worth is. And sometimes, like I said, being a father, having a child sometimes makes you a man if you're willing to take on that role in a proper, you know, in the way that you should. It's not hard. There's no manual that comes with it, at least in my case. Some say they are because you have fathers.
And not to cut you off, but I do have this question for you. How did you deal with it when she got her period?
First, she said, she knocked me down. She said, I'm bleeding. I went and gave her a Band-Aid. She was like, no. I was like, where at? She was like, down there. I was like, what? I didn't know. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, somebody mess with you? I didn't know what to think at first until she said, no, it's not stopping. And I was like, uh-oh. I ran to the store and got every type of tampon, Kotex there was. I had nobody to say, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. I know I couldn't put the tampons up, so you have to put the Kotex in the panties. You gotta find. I put them up wrong. You know, it's a lot of stuff. And then when we finally got it right after the time went by, it was good. When she said I need tampons, I go to the store and get it. Like it's, you know, you can see some of them.
So now
he's buying it for his women, and I'm like, I'm buying it for my daughter, and they go, oh wow.
But now let me ask you this: now, did you did her hair? You was able to comb her hair and pick out her clothes and all that stuff?
Yeah. Yep. Only thing I can't do is braid hair. I can't braid. I can perm it. I can straighten it. I comb it. I can't braid for nothing in the world. I can't braid at all. I grease her hair. Her hair is shoulder length. It's thick. I mean, I always tell her the mother's a good mother. The mother's a strong mother. You know, I'm glad that I got back in contact with the mothers and let her mother talk to her every now and then, you know, because I know what it is to not have no parents. I know what it is to not have one side of your family not deal with you or not talk to you or not be supportive for you. So I'm trying to allow her to not go through nothing I went through, to break the cycle, to break the chain, because I was beat. I want to beat her because I was abused. I don't want to abuse her. So, you know,